But if you also want to listen to the rest of the show, the bumper edition, click in the card above our heads, or you can download in the most audio platforms below the show. But for the rest of people watching on YouTube, you can watch our bite-sized reviews, and we'll be taking your clips and a lot of questions in this second half of this show from some familiar faces that we spoke to over this season. And once again, this episode is sponsored by OneFootball, and do make sure you check out the excellent free OneFootball app to keep up to date, the first to know of all the latest transfer news, stats, scores, all in one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. So you've made it this far then, and thanks for sticking with us then, but it is that time then to nominate our player of the season. There is a clip from everybody that's been involved previously in this bumper edition of our end of season reviews. So let's go to them first, and we'll reveal our player of the season.
Nathan Redmond. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's proved a lot of his critics wrong. He's consistently been our best player on the park. So there's no doubting for me, I think like the majority of Saints fans, that Nathan Redmond is my player of the season. He's been consistently strong throughout the season, performing well initially under Mark Hughes and then taking it to a different level under Ralph Hasenhüttl. He scored some valuable goals throughout that period and has also created a number of assists. I think the big thing with Nathan Redmond, and the thing that I'd congratulate him on most, is the fact that he's had a really tough 12 to 18 months prior to that. A lot of frustration from fans and a lot of abuse from the terraces. He's gone away, he's worked hard in pre-season, he's worked hard on his fitness, and he's come back stronger and he's delivered on the pitch. And ultimately, that's what we want to see. Nathan Redmond's got himself into the England squad now, initially for the Nations League, and it's rich reward for a fantastic season. So my player of the season, definitely Nathan Redmond.
For me, player of the season goes to Pierre Hojbjerg. I thought Redmond was a fantastic candidate. He's had a really good season. But for me personally, I think Hojbjerg has been an absolutely vital asset to the side, especially with him wearing the captain's armband, which is a little bit gone under the radar in my opinion. I think not many people have sort of appreciated that as much, or sort of noticed how much the team changed with him wearing that armband. He's a clear leader on and off the pitch, lovely guy, cares about the football club, but he's improved a lot with his football as well. I mean, he's added goals to his games now. What's it, 5 goals that he scored this season? You know, as opposed to the one that he got last year in the cup at Wigan. You know, the improvements there to see. And he's still 23 years old. You know, that's the other thing people forget. He acts so mature. And we knew that when he came in as a sort of 21-year-old from Bayern Munich. You know, he speaks like he's about 50. He's such an experienced player at such a young age. And he's got so much potential. And I'd like to see him be captain of Southampton Football Club for a lot longer.
Player of the season, you know, Redmond's a good shout. I'm always biased towards Yoshida. I think he's one of the best players we got. And it was made really clear when he came back in the side after all those Stevens mistakes. I know we probably hate on Stevens a bit too much, but yeah, you can't deny it. But Yoshida, for me, will always be my player of the season until he's no longer a Southampton player. But, you know, I'm looking forward to next season.
Player of the season, I believe the club got the decision right with Nathan Redmond as the official player of the season. I thought he realised the promise that he'd shown. Yes, even this season he was sometimes patchy and in and out of form, but he is Southampton's difference maker in the final third. And I thought he had a really positive season. In a season which, let's face it, wasn't fantastic for Southampton, I think he was one of the few rare bright spots.
So, end of season awards. We had quite a few on the podcast this year, so I'll just give you a couple of highlights. And then if you want to listen to the whole lot, of course, you can tune into the full podcast. Couple of pretty obvious ones, I suppose. We had Nathan Redmond as our player of the season. Much like everybody else, the guy was absolutely transformed after his kind of trip to America, coming back, and the effort that we saw him put in all season really was just absolutely fantastic. And it was great that when Ralph came in, he managed to get the goals and the assists as well to go with the big effort and performances that he'd been putting in since the start of the season.
Okay, so player of the season I think is quite an easy one this time round. I think all the plaudits quite rightly are going to go to Nathan Redmond. He's come back from the pre-season to be like a new signing. He's given absolutely everything in all the games that he has played for us this season. He's our top scorer too. But on a personal level, I'm really pleased to see Shane Long going from something of a running joke in the team, scoring 4 goals under 4 different managers, to scoring 4 goals in as many weeks, and also breaking the Premier League record for the fastest goal.
Several players have performed well under Ralph Hasenhüttl since he came in, but for me, Nathan Redmond has been the best player this season. I reason that because he's been good under Hughes and the new manager. So, under Hughes, he wasn't particularly influencing matches. He was playing reasonably well, but he wasn't getting goals, he wasn't getting assists, and he wasn't really putting opponents under the cosh. Under Hasenhüttl, that's just changed completely. You know, he's been adding this end product to his game, and he's playing with this pace, this energy, and this goal that has rightly rewarded him with the Fans Player of the Season and the Players Player of the Season, along with, just a week or two later, a recall to the England squad for the UEFA Nations League matches. And it's no more or less than what Redmond deserves. He's been fantastic this season, and for me, head and shoulders above the rest. I can't wait to see how he progresses, but I think it's important that the club tie him down to a new contract, because at 25 years old, he's just hitting his peak. We need to make sure that we enjoy his best years, because we cannot afford to lose him. He's now our most influential player, and in my opinion, if he wasn't on top form this season, Southampton would have probably gone down, despite Hasenhüttl's impact.
I know Nathan Redmond took home Player of the Season for everyone, and I think he should have. But if I had to pick somebody else that made a drastic impact this season, I think it would have to be Pierre Emile Hojbjerg. And just because there were times this season when the team was down, we weren't playing well, things were going poorly on the pitch, things were going poorly off the pitch. And he was the guy who showed some leadership and stepped up. And I think him taking on the captain's armband, that's a lot of weight for a lot of players. And he's proven that even at a young age, or a fairly young age, he has the mentality to be able to do it. And he's definitely still has some things to improve on. He got sent off a couple of times this season, and he's got to fix that. But his leadership on and off the pitch, I think, is something that we definitely benefited from. So if I was going to pick somebody else other than Redmond to take the Player of the Season, I think I would have to go with Hojbjerg.
Okay, my Player of the Season. It's kind of difficult to pick from the 3 that I have in mind. They're pretty obvious names. Nathan Redmond, James Ward-Prowse, and Pierre Emile Hojbjerg. It's difficult to argue outside of those 3 guys, really. I'm going to go with Nathan Redmond. And I'm going to go with Nathan Redmond because overall, I think his game, his confidence, and his ability has really shone through this season. It's been goals, 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 and he's scored some quite magnificent goals. He really transformed himself even before the arrival of Hasenhüttl. So to have the self-motivation to do that and get the confidence back, I'm going to go with Nathan Redmond.
Okay, so my Player of the Season, it's an easy one. It's Nathan Redmond. He's been consistent all season, and he's crucially stayed healthy throughout. He's played every game, 43 appearances in all. Top scorer in the league with 6, 9 in all competitions, most assists, most shots. You know, he's right up there with passes too. But beyond the stats, it's his positive play. He's always thinking forward. The goal is first in his mind. It causes problems for anyone, whether he's playing on the left, on the right, through the centre. He's been man of the match most in our eyes. We saw that West Ham game when he come off the bench and immediately changed the way that we played. He's a game changer. He's the first man on the team sheet and totally deserved his double gong at the awards dinner.
Okay, so the nominees are then quite a popular opinion. Obviously, Nathan Redmond has picked up the official Players Player of the Season, the Daily Echo Player of the Season. But other nominations then for James Ward-Prowse, Pierre Emile Hojbjerg, and I want to nominate Jan Bednarek, someone that was basically in the dark under Mark Hughes. We mentioned earlier off the back of a wonderful World Cup with Poland. And since he's been back in the squad under Ralph Hasenhüttl, he's barely been displaced, popping up with some excellent blocks, some tackles, and still only 21 years old, showing a lot of maturity beyond his years.
Yeah, Jan's definitely put his body on the line for Saints, and he rates in that top 4 without a doubt. Without doubt. I mean, there's been some incredibly vital blocks that I just go under the radar. People just kind of he's doing his job. But it's such an important job. But obviously, at the other end, Nathan's been banging them in. So it's hard to with so much of the viewpoints pointing in his direction. It's hard to argue against him, to be fair, as Nick would say. That's his favourite comment, to be fair. But yeah, Nathan's changed his game around. He's changed our game around. Hojbjerg, obviously, for the spirit that he's given the team. James Ward-Prowse for the goals that he's given the team, and again, spirit and dedication to the cause. There's 4 guys. You're looking to build a football team. I'm never all that keen on player of the season. And even when I've won a couple as a player, and I felt embarrassed because it's a team effort. And do you know, that has been the whole of the second half of the season. Ralph's come in, he's known where the team is. Player of the season, to me, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's never mattered. Any team I've played for, no, it's what the team does. It's what the team does. But if you've got to say it, then Nathan Redmond has to win it for me, because he's improved so much and he plays with a smile on his face now. And he hurts the opposition, and the opposition is scared of him.
I think it's it's a stark contrast of his attitude, in fact,
massive.
from last season.
Massive.
Massive,
arguing with Bertie all the time and Cedric, whichever side he was playing on, and now he's there, and when he gets taken out by players, he just gets on with it. Or he had a little dust up with Sissoko, was it?
Yeah,
when Sissoko should have been sent off. I mean, I would have had a dust up if someone had raked my Achilles. I would have had a dust up, but he gets on with the game, and that's what I like about him. And he's got a smile on his face like Mick Shannon used to, and that transfers to the fans, that transfers to his teammates. It's important.
I guess there was a reputation as well. When Nathan Redmond signed for us, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, same time as actually Pierre Hojbjerg. Redmond was, I suppose, in the same position as Sadio Mane. It could be said that Redmond was his replacement. Nobody thought, batted an eyelid and thought for a minute that Redmond could even, tie Sadio Mane's boots based on Mane's, reputation, the goals that he scored in previous seasons.
No, and I think he didn't have the happiest of times, even at Norwich. I think he felt a little bit bullied up there by the manager, and I think that he's come here and he's played under different people, but now he's playing for someone who completely believes in him, can see his ability, can see what he can do, and above all else, the fans believe in him now. When he walks across to the corner flag, everyone's shouting and cheering. That wasn't the case before, was it? Let's face it.
Well, he was, like we said earlier, he was a scapegoat for most of last season. Nathan Redmond, you got to pass the ball. You're too late to pass it there. You're passing it into the wrong place. You're dispossessed, etc., etc. We know the score.
Let's look on the positive side, Freddie. We are where we are now, and Redmond's come out of that period of time and shown what a great player that he is. And I think, again, looking forward to next season, I'm really excited as to what he can do.
I want to put forward a case for James Ward-Prowse. A couple of fantastic free kicks, and actually he went a bit of a purple patch, a bit like Redmond has been this season, scoring, week after week, free kick. And actually, in fact, James Ward-Prowse has added games from open play quite naturally to his game this season. We've seen him add a bit of a bite, a bit of aggression to his side, which we haven't seen. Nick said that he's from a nice family, a polite family. You don't expect that from James on the pitch. And I suppose in recent seasons, you haven't seen that too much. But he has really kicked on, reacted to Ralph's instructions. And personally, I voted for James Ward-Prowse. I'm a big fan of him. I like his technique, but he's never quite unlocked that potential, and that P word is something that's bounded around the camp so much. And what Ralph has done this season has been nothing short of incredible to unlock the potential of James Ward-Prowse, Hojbjerg, some of the youngsters that have broke through too.
Yeah, well, I think it was the captaincy was probably between James and Pierre. And Pierre got it first, and he's the custodian of it. But it's nice to have people competing for that captaincy because it shows a sense of pride, a sense of belonging to the football club, and that's really important looking forward.
So those are the 4 names there. Then Redmond, Ward-Prowse, Hojbjerg, Bednarek to build a team around next season.
Yes.
But as you say, then the award goes to the ugly inside player of the season, Nathan
Redmond.
Well,
eat your heart out, Blakey.
Well,
So
Nathan,
we know people that are, shall we say, not exactly Nathan Redmond supporters. So it kind of gives you a strange sense of pleasure to be able to nominate Nathan Redmond as the rightful player of the season.
well, here's the thing. I know Redmond's quite a humble player, quite a respectful player, but it is really a two-fingered salute to those haters.
Yes, as is James Ward-Prowse, because I've heard plenty of grief given in James's direction. So both those guys have exceeded expectations when they've come into the team. And again, we're looking forward to the future. We're looking forward to these two guys being very important next season.
Well, there you have it then, Nathan. If you're watching or listening along, there will be a pint behind the bar at the Five Rivers. And of course, everybody, thank you very much for watching along, listening along this season. Hours of effort into match build-up shows, fan reactions. Clive, thanks for joining me, mate.
I'd just like to say before we go that last season, when we escaped, I went, phew, thank God for that. Because I thought we were pretty crap, to be fair. This season, I felt that it would be an absolute travesty if we'd been relegated. I felt we were a middle-of-the-table team, poorly managed. Okay, I didn't think Mark Hughes was as bad as everyone made out, but he wasn't the right man for the job. That's what I'd qualify that with.
Yep.
But this guy now has come in and given us a new lease of life, and it would have been an absolute travesty. And let's face it, had we not lost those games to Cardiff, we'd have been safe a month before we were.
Yeah.
But now we're looking forward, and we've got to have our expectations not too sky high. I think we've made progress. We've made a lot of progress since Ralph has come in, but we really should be looking to be in that middle section and safe next season. And hopefully we can kick on and let the creative players take us higher. But it's up to I do worry obviously about the ownership of the club and whether they're going to give the manager, who I feel is the best manager we've had in donkeys, the financial support to take us in that direction. That's my biggest concern right now.
All right, well, on a positive note then, lots to look forward to then hopefully next season, hopefully a few more incomings, probably
indeed.
a few more outgoings too. But on that note, Clive, let's cheers for the end of the season.
Cheers.
And
I'd also like to say thank you to all the guys that have contributed in this end of season in views, because that's what we're all about. Saints fans giving their views. We don't all agree, but we're all red and white. We're all mushes.
Well,
up the Saints.
Up the Saints. See you next season.